What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah,
okay.
CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green. Don't even need to hit a fucking traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
Hey. Welcome to another episode of One Set Podcast, people. How you doing?
Love to see y'all. I am loving your hashtag OOFD. Wow, that's how old I am. I couldn't even do the hashtag that fast. Your hashtag outfit of the day. Wow. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It was a decent day out. We had a lot of good weather.
So I have a fun idea that I didn't run by you.
Let's do it.
And you can delete this from the episode if you think it's not fun, but I think it's actually great. So we lost footage in our last episode audibly. Like the video footage is there, but it's absolutely muted.
Mm-hmm.
We want to reach out. And when I say we, I mean, I kind of brought the idea to Anthony, but he doesn't know the full extent of where I'm going with this. If you know bad lip reading, we would like any two podcast, anybody that is inspiring to get into podcasting, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
to bad lip read the two of us doing those first, what was it, 20, 30 minutes?
Something like that. We'll try to pick out a couple clips from it that are kind of like decent. Like, oh, I think somebody can probably ad lib something here, and make it even more funny than probably what it was.
And we will pick finalists and present them into a poll, and then everyone can vote to say those are the ones that we want, and we will select them as guests on our podcast.
I was just gonna say we'll get them on the pod.
Absolutely.
That's a good free thing. We'll get you guys on the pod. The winners can come on the pod with us and chat a little bit, whether it's virtual or in person. So we'll send out the clips and we'll let you know when they're up. And just either you can put them up on social media, tag us at One Set Pod, or if you don't want to put it up on the internet, you can send it to us through the email onesetpod@gmail.com. So,
what are your favorite things about the bad lip readings? For me, it's the sound effects. I don't know. It's just, to me, I'm just like, it's so absurd. And like, I think you and I have that same level of humor where it's like,
we
that's
like that
so
stupid,
obnoxious
goofy
and
humor.
ridiculous. And we're like,
I
think the NFL ones are.
they're highly.
They are so good
because I think you can do so much with them. And it's easy money for it. I think that's the best one you can do. But like you said, like the sound effects that go within the bad lipping type of videos make it that much more funnier.
So let's transcend this two separate ways. One, the easy one is how much music is out there in the world?
A lot.
A lot. So
every day.
So us dancers can approach music and take it really, really seriously, or not, or find somewhere in the middle. And I think it's fair that maybe
maybe
this is a really fun idea where I just dance. I do movement without music, and then Anthony or anyone out there creates music that makes sense with the rhythm that I'm presenting. I'm just capitalizing off of the.
Oh, okay. So you're doing like a dance move without music, and then you want a musician
and then a musician
do something off
build
of
music based off of the rhythm of the move.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, that'd be a cool type of experiment. Yeah, I like that.
And we already have the episode 100 thing coming up, but maybe that's like a 150 thing like next year. So
we can, I think because we can gather up people through then, and we can at least have the winners be announced on the 100th episode.
Sure.
I think that's a good bucket amount of time that we can promote that for people and say, hey, put these videos out, like the bad list stuff. So that'll be another thing we do for the episode 100 on top of, the music thing that we got, that I'm going to release a song. You're going to be releasing some dance content.
Yeah.
So.
And I also want to talk about something that my one studio is like, hey, some parents don't want to sign their kids up for an entire year of dance.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very interested in doing like short-term sessions to be like, hey, it's only 6 weeks long. Stay committed to just a 6-week term. Because sometimes parents sign kids up for a thing, and after 4 to 5 months, they're like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And the parent's like, no, you're going to fulfill your commitment. Stick with it.
Right.
Pardon me. But she's getting really good with this like short-term commitment thing. And I think that's something that you and I can capitalize on too. And maybe after episode 100, it's like, hey, do a short phrase and then give it to me and say, hey, what does this look like to you? And then maybe I can do the same thing. Hey, I'm just doing movement.
I already got something that I made that I want to give you. And you already probably know the one that I'm talking about.
Maybe.
So possibly, but there's something that I made up. It's not like all finished and done, but it's enough inspiring that I'm sure you can put something out from it.
Yeah. So for my dance friends out there, and there are dozens of you, hundreds of you that I know are out there, I would love you to just post on any of our social pages, email us and be like, hey, I've always heard this song and I've heard it like this. How do you see it? Or I feel this type of movement, but I don't know what music it fits to.
Right.
We can talk about that. Right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's good stuff, right there.
I like that. Yeah, because I mean, agree or disagree with me with this, but I think knowing that music and dance are so subjective, you have those times where you're writing something, but you don't know what category to put it in. Like, and I get that a little bit with my music too. Like, I have so many different, genre likes that I have, but I never, stick to something. Like sometimes I'll be in more of like a bluesy rock, or like sometime more like R&B. Then it's something like I'm thinking like, oh, this is a little more heavier, like pop punk or like more popish. So it's like kind of hard to place my music into one pot, where, I've come to find that I'm okay with, having a mixture of music to put out instead of just sticking to just one genre. Like that's just like, and when you're thinking of originality, I think it's unique for me to kind of, continue to just have a lot of different ideas flow out. And then you can always just, have that where, if people like this style of music, you write more, you write more of that, or vice versa. If somebody, if somebody likes more of your popish rock stuff, you do that. Or if, there's more people liking the R&B blues type of stuff, you put more of that. So I feel it's like, putting out a lot of different ideas out there, and then what hits on people, then you're like, okay, that's the road I go down.
All right, Anth, we got to talk about Liquid IV here, the #1 powered hydration brand in America, now available sugar-free with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, plus all the 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone. I know for me, with teaching, being active in the dance field, it has definitely made my job a lot easier. I feel not like a dried up sponge. Like I feel so hydrated and so good about myself using Liquid IV. Anth, how do you feel about it?
Hey, I'm right there with you, man. Being a dad, a musician, we don't always think about hydration being our #1 thought all the time. So making sure you're hydrated is definitely key. And Liquid IV, like we said, hydrates you 2 times faster than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks, plus 8 vitamins, the nutrients for everyday wellness. It's just convenient. I cannot rave about it enough.
One of my favorite things about Liquid IV is just the convenience of it. I mean, I'm on my way to work. I got my bottle of water. I just rip open liquid IV pack, drop the stick in, and I am twice as hydrated rather than just drinking water alone.
And the flavors, man. We got to talk about the flavors. They just came out with 3 new flavors: white peach, green grape, and my favorite personally, the lemon lime.
And we love the tangerine flavor. It's so good. It is just like summer right there in a nutshell.
And one of the best things, there's no artificial sweeteners and 0 sugar with a proprietary amino acid allulose blend for a sweet taste without the calories or raised blood glucose levels you get from sugar.
Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation for a healthier world. They partner with leading organizations to fund and foster innovative solutions that help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world. Get 20% off when you grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free or any other variant at liquidiv.com and use our code OneSetPod. That is the number 1 set pod at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code OneSetPod at liquidiv.com.
Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply 1 click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layer backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
Yeah, and for me, I've taught at dozens of studios at this point. But when I'm at the studios, and no disrespect to any of them individually, I work for this company, Beat Addicts, and they culminate, and I know I've told you about this company multiple times. They culminate dancers from studios all over the place, and just watching how everybody dances differently, and somehow it works. It's like it's a magic trick that nobody understands. I mean, even the owners and my boss, not going to name drop you, but when you see this at some point, if you do, you've said it time and time again. It doesn't make sense why it works, but it does. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that dancers being surrounded by other dancers from different communities is almost like musicians like yourself, where when you go to different demographics, whether it's local, regional, national, international, you get inspired in different ways to put your emotions and your feels into the music that you create.
Right.
And that's how we are as creators, as choreographers. It's
especially everybody's on different levels, so everybody's learning from everybody. I mean, beginners are learning from the upper ups, and sometimes the upper ups are learning new stuff that beginners are just getting into, and they're like, oh, I never thought of it like that. I mean,
well, I learned one really, really important thing the one semester I went to community college. It's called the 3 L's: lifelong learning. And it's basically preaching, you don't stop learning after high school. You don't stop learning after college. You're learning forever.
Absolutely.
And like at our age right now, the jeez, I like, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes and hey, some people have said some things that I don't like either. But if you're good with where you're at for too long, that's how you get stale.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like they always try to tell you to, like, it's good to be scared to, take that next risk, because if you're not doing that, then you're not really trying to move and, hit those plateaus. But if you just stay comfortable and stay consistent at something, you're like, okay, I mean, I'm doing, but you're going to be fine, but you're never going to continue to learn. So you always want to try to be learning your craft. You always want to try to be, learning something from somebody or just looking up certain things.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, and you're saying all of this, and it's really hit me in one spot, and I'm gonna kind of branch off it and say it's scary to do the new things. It's also scary to be in the same place at the same time because there's no growth, right? And that's that. I don't watch TikTok videos frequently, but I sent you the one, and I was like, this guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, I mean, we might as well insert the video right in here, but I'm going to talk about it. He was like, how old is everyone in here? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's like, what'd your coach tell you to do? Run for 5 minutes? He was like, yeah, I watched those of you that did it, and I watched those of you that didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Hurting hurts and not hurting hurts is what he said. And I was just like, oh,
whoopsie. Real talk.
That was real talk for me. So, I mean, and I've been in this place before, and maybe I've been there recently where it's like, hey, I'm good right now. And maybe that's where I'm not like motivated to do more things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're preaching to like that age group, they need to hear that kind of talk, especially now, especially after pandemic. It's like, hey, we understand you were allowed to be lazy in those times because the way of the world was like, we're shut down. And the mental health kicked in where it was like, yo, I'm not really cool with how everything is right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen successful studios and thriving studios just basically be like, yeah, no, we kept plowing through. They did that. And I was like, they're a no excuse kind of company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, if they can do it, so can the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about like the, hurting hurts and not hurting hurts. And from what the video was meaning to me is the fact that, they were saying, do your skills, do your work. But then when you're not doing it, that's 5 minutes that you could have gotten better at something. You put in the work, or it's something like the work you put in shows, but when you don't put it in, the results show. So the more work you put in, the more your results are going to, benefit you in the long run. But if you keep being lackadaisical and say, oh, I should be, working on so and so, but I'll just get back to it later. Then that goes into 2 days you didn't do anything, 3, 4, 5. But then another kid down the block has been doing all that maybe 10 times over in 5 days, and he's already surpassed you. So especially as like a youngin, and again, I feel like I miss that type of thing too. Like I wish I would have been more dedicated to music like I am now, because I would have been that much more, better at what I do today. But again, you live and you learn. But the fact that like you gotta, and it's all about time management, pretty much what it comes down to. You want to, if you're trying to get better at something, it's about repetition, practice, and just continuing to do a lot of the same things over, and just continuing to, hit certain plateaus and continue to just break through those. And what's the next thing I learn? Especially, the thing with me right now is music production. I'm trying to just, learn what I can. And, I know the basics of a lot of things, but it's like trying to learn, the advanced stuff, like how to use certain techniques, when to use them, why to use them. And, it's not like I'm trying to be, a top 10 music producer, but it's more like the more work I put into it, the faster that I'm going to see results. And every day or every moment that, you don't put in work, you're just going to continue to stay at that level. So and not everybody every day is motivated. I come and go through motivation and inspiration things too. So, we're human. So, it's just more of finding the things that keep you inspired to continue to keep yourself growing.
Yeah. I have so much to like rebound off of that. I hope that I get all of it. And I'm gonna start with, and I'm gonna keep this one short because if you're not a wrestling fan, like you're not gonna resonate with this. But the WrestleMania press conference call, when people were asking him about, hey, why do you have these like Logan Paul, Bad Bunny people coming in
Asking Triple H,
and Triple H is like, yeah, I hear that from a majority of the talent, and all I do is tell them, step up.
Yeah.
And he's like, why are they as good as they are?
They put in the time.
They're mentally invested, right? So I'm gonna tell you about why I never got casted for Monsters, and I'm gonna tell everyone about why I never got casted for Monsters. It's the same exact reason, because I thought all I needed to do was show up to the cities a lot and be like, hey, my face is here and I'm trying my hardest, but I'd come home not motivated around here, and I would not work on myself here. So I wasn't doing the homework.
Right.
So for me to fulfill that destiny, like that dream, I have to approach it differently. I have to say it's actually less about me being there. It's more about me being here and how I am here.
Yeah.
How I wake up every day, how I utilize my time management, like Anthony said.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, what do I do at the gym? What do I do that makes me a better dancer? What do I do that makes my mind feel like I can walk into a space and be, wow, CCH levels, right? What do I do that makes me walk into a space and say, I'm better than everybody else here? It's such a hard cockiness level thing to say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if you're on that level of you do the daily tasks that make you better at the passion that you do, then your shortcomings are literally by happenstance. Otherwise, it's just whoopsie.
Yeah.
And I know it. I'm admitting it. I understand why I've failed the couple of times. The few times that I did, I've gotten this close to where I've wanted to be. And I'm like, oh, I got to this level just based off of showing up and trying my hardest. And then I came home and I didn't work the way I was supposed to. And I can say, oh, I'm not motivated. Oh, there's things surrounding me that like are holding me back.
I concur off that. The fact that when releasing music, they always kind of give you, it's not mostly what you're doing to promote it before the song comes out, but it's also what you do after the song comes out, because then that's the big promotion of like, hey, it's out now, you're trying to get faces like on the song. And I feel like for this single, like I did a lot before, I did a little bit after, but then I started tapering off. So now my next thing is when my next single is, I did good at the beginning, but how do I keep the fire going after the single's out? So that's my next thing with this one is like, how do I keep, because I did a lot of, promotion and video packaging for the beginning, and I felt good about that. But then I'm like crap, what do I do after? Because I don't have content after now, other than like the music video stuff. That was big, but I think where I lacked was finding extra content around the music video and outside of the music video to not only just, keep pushing music video content, but, getting like real world type of things of like I can use. So I think that might be the extra thing that I tried next time. So I feel, you're always trying to improve on what you did last time and what you can do better next time, and learning from your mistakes, or not even just mistakes, but, learning from what you can achieve better, how your last release did, and what you can do better to make the next one even better.
Yeah. And I mean, we're both in the entertainment industry. So
Mhm.
like, hey, we're wearing really cool shirts. You know what really got me? I don't know if I've ever told you this. I was teaching at a place and I went to the recital and I brought my girlfriend at the time with me. And my boss asked if she could help in the dressing room because
Mhm.
clearly I could not. Right. So she did. And then my students learned that the person helping them was my girlfriend. And they were like, wait, Mr. Jim has a girlfriend? We thought he was just a poor guy that lived in a trailer with a couple cats. And I think honestly it's because I wear a lot of the same clothes all the time. And I think
Same.
when you present yourself in the entertainment industry, in the dance field, especially as a hip hop teacher, and I have friends that wear many clothes or
Mhm.
and I'm just like, hey, I have a small rotation because I'm a minimalist
Mhm.
where I'm like, I don't want a lot of work clothes.
Right.
I'm just like, I feel good in these pants, these shorts, these
Uh-huh.
shorts, these shirts.
You go with what you're comfortable.
And like that makes me feel good about doing my job.
Mhm.
And then I have kids telling my girlfriend like, "Oh, we thought Mr. Jim was poor, living in a trailer with cats."
Based off what
And I
they
was like,
continue to, yeah.
I shouldn't feed into that mentality of like, because they're kids,
Right.
and I want to be like, "What do you know?" And at the same time, I'm like, "Why do you perceive me that way?" And I'm like, maybe,
Image is a big thing, and
hey, in the entertainment industry, and that's why like, and hey, we like raved about the shirt that you wore when you were playing yesterday, and this
Mhm.
is coming out end of September.
Right.
And I sat there and I like leaned in and shy, and I was like, I don't like. I love the shirt on him, but I don't know if it complements the guitar. Like, and
Yeah.
it's just like visual color contrast
Mhm.
things that really sell you,
Right.
And it's silly things where it's like you don't feel like you should have to think about that. You're like, hey,
No.
I just want to put on something that makes me feel comfortable and go up and
Right.
play.
And
But
I didn't think
instead,
of it that
it's
way,
so
like with the guitar, because it was kind of almost the same color as the guitar, so it kind of blemishes him with it.
Mhm.
But I mean,
And I think when you ordered it, the shirt looked lighter. And when
yeah,
you showed me the picture, I was like, that would have blended with the guitar
Mhm.
better than
What
it,
it
it
looked
came in
actually
darker
looked
on you.
like.
And I was like, I mean, I'm not a fashionista over here, but I was like, little off, like color wise, right? And nothing against you or your talent,
no,
just
no.
your physical presentation, right?
Yeah, because it's taken me a couple years to kind of figure out, like, okay, this is the way I want to dress on stage. Like, I started, with like the boots and the pants, and then started gravitating. So I mean, I know a lot of people, just do like band shirts or just whatever. I'm like, not that I'm like suit and tie type thing, but I started really getting into like the graphic, like collared shirts and everything, like little style. So that's kind of been my image. But then, like you said, like off stage, like I'm just a regular, like stuff like this, just regular shorts, sandals, a shirt, and a hat. Like I don't dress too much like the way I do on stage.
Can we talk about a real cheat code real quick?
Let's.
His name is Brent Crystals. He does not have to worry about any shirts he wears ever because he always just goes on stage shirtless.
Or if he does, it ain't staying on very long.
No. Because his best friend Tom, would you say he's like your favorite at this point? I mean, I can easily say he's my favorite at this point.
Yeah, and he definitely they both have different personalities and the way, but I think they complement each other because Tom is so laid back and just like this leaf. But he's so laid back, and where Bert
is just
or Brent
or Bart.
Yeah. Or Bart, he is so out there and wants to be
and
in front
erratic.
Of people. Like he thrives off being in front of people, where Tom's like, I don't like being in front of people. Or if I'm around people, I'm usually the one not being the one in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm kind of like that too. I mean, I don't like to put too much light on me. Where and I would say you're the same way. Like when people are like, oh, like I saw you play that other night, like, oh, you're really good. Like, oh, thanks. I don't really try to gloat. And we talked about that CCH levels. We don't like to gloat too much. We're appreciative when people come up to us and like our craft, but we don't like to be too cocky. But we know we're confident with what we do, and we're, humbled, honest, and with what we do,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really bad about like the appreciation level. Like, for instance, you and Jen sent me and Cheyenne like a card. Hey, thank you for the gift for a little
Mm-hmm.
I was not raised to do the card thing. So
me either. That's totally something that Jen grew up with.
And you and I have talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I hope that they don't feel because we didn't send them a card that we don't appreciate. It's just not in our repertoire of
that has definitely been something that like Jen and her family kind of do. I mean, she's always been about like cards and cards and cards, and she knows I'm not the biggest card person, but like she's like, I know you're not, but as long as you like do like the things like anniversary, birthday, Christmas, and stuff like that, and like the big 4, 3 or 4, but she's always been about like she's big on cards, and and again, my family was never the really thing about that too. Like you get them and you usually like throw them away, but but again, what were you were going off? I kind of lost where I was going with that.
It's okay. I was actually driving us back to an earlier episode. So if you're tuning in now and new to this, I was comparing Anthony and I to Brett and Tom.
Brett Knistel.
And I always was like, yeah, no, I'm Tom and Anthony's Bert. And over time, I've been like, yeah, no, it feels very the other way around. Not just because Anthony is embracing the bald head thing, but because Anthony is very subdued, or sub chick, either way.
Sub chick.
And I feel like I'm more the erratic one, and I'm like, okay, great, I'm Bart. Whoop-de-doo.
But it's in the same way. Like, I guess just settling into like the parent type of life. It's more of like, okay, I mean, by the end of the day, you're not thinking about like, oh, let's go out to the bar till 2 a.m. and trying to do all this stuff. Not that I can't think like I can still do that. I mean, again, we're both night owls. I can still hang with people out, and but it's more the fact that, hey, I got to get back and be super dad, because it was the same thing like last night after my gig. Jen was saying like, oh, not trying to rush you, but after your gig, are you gonna stay and hang out for a little bit? Are you gonna come home? I said, I'm just gonna talk to my cousin who came out, and a couple people are still here, so I'm gonna hang for a few minutes and I'm gonna get out of here. She's like, all right, it's no problem. I'm just like, Anthony's not going to sleep. He wants you to, he wants to wait for you to come back home in order to go to sleep. So I'm like, all right, I'll be home in a little bit. I'm not going to let him wait. But the fact is, like, we when we're in our thing of like you being on stage dancing, me being the musician, we're up there, we're doing what we love, but then when we get off, that adrenaline goes down, and then you're back to reality. Like, okay, now I got to get back to like for me and say, okay, now get back into like being dad mode and all that stuff. So it's like I think with Tom, he has that family sense. I mean, they both have the family sense, but I think he's more, family or I guess, I mean, I don't know, but more family oriented. Be like, when I have my time with my kids, and his kids are a little bit younger than Brent's. So he a lot of his kids are leaving for college at this point, so everybody's about to leave the nest, so it's even more that he can go out and do a lot of things, where Tom, he has little kids, so he has to be there for them that much more. But him just coming off of like a 2-3 year tour, he's taking that time to be back with his kids.
Sure.
So yeah,
I mean, there's so much perspective to consider with, I mean, not just a couple of things you just said, but even on my end, where, so I used to run a dance studio, and we, after the last night of the shows, would have like an after party. And it was almost more important, not just to put on the routines that we built for 6 to 8 months to present to their parents, their families, but to just be like, hey, how we doing?
right.
And like just to have that communication and chat. And there were a lot of parents that were like, it was so cool just to chat with you for a couple minutes, because I saw my kids dance, but I knew you as their teacher, but I didn't know how you were like in an interpersonal situation.
Right.
So for you as a musician, when you're playing, if you have a small audience and maybe it's not people and you're like, okay, I'm going to go play, I'm going to collect my money, I'm going to pack up and leave and get home, especially if you're playing far away. Like the couple places that I saw that you were far away, you were like, yeah, I want to get home.
Right.
Especially if it was a weeknight and you got to wake up and do this thing the next day.
Yeah.
When you are close to home and it's a weekend night and you have a crowd, not that it's expected of you, but you'll present yourself in a better light if you're like, hey, thank you so much for investing your 3 hours in coming out to see me. Let me hang out with you for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And like, I'm not digging at you right now. I hope you don't feel that way.
No.
Because I know that you're I felt like your wife was the wrong thing to say, because I know her by first name. I know Jen is expecting, so I know that like if she wants you home, you gotta get home. So it's just a matter of like, when I'm out and performing, if I have a gig and it's local, and after the fact, if I, was just like, yeah, I gotta go by, versus if I went out and did a gig local and then I hung out and I chatted with people,
right,
I might see them. It doesn't secure them, but they're like, oh, I didn't just pay to see them on stage. I got to hang out with them after the fact.
right.
So little mindfulness in that front. Should we move on to no, I wanted to talk about the one thing, but this is coming out so far removed. We are about to enter October, and anything that you are looking forward to entering the fall, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to throw on some sweatpants and a hoodie, because I am ready for the weather to like cool down a little bit. And if you are tuning in from around the world, we are in a place where September, early October to late October, we're looking at highs in the low 70s, lows in the high 50s. Does that sound right?
Sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, we're not cold yet, but like you said, it's sweater, sweatshirt. Like, I think you can get away with like sweatshirts and shorts still if you're that bravery. I'm usually, I mean, if it's like a little chilly, I mean, I won't brave it out with shorts unless it's like a upper 60s. Probably, I think you can get away with like a sweatshirt and shorts. Like, probably when we go to the shore, we would already be back by this time this comes out. You know, the boardwalk and around like September, you'll get cold nights, so you might just need a sweatshirt, but you can get away with shorts. So like, it's that like old tale of like, oh, my legs don't get cold, but you know, I think it usually works in that perspective because you're getting the ocean breeze coming off you, but it's not still cold enough where you need to bundle up a lot, at least for me. But it's that perfect weather where it's a little bit of warmth, a little bit of cold, but it's not annoying where you can't go out and do something and be outside.
Yeah, I mean, the spot that you were performing in last night, it was brisk inside.
Yeah.
And to me,
they did have that AC turned up a bit.
I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But your mom came in and was like, as soon as she sat down, and I was like, oh, wait, that's right. Women are two things all the time, cold and hungry. Yeah. Sorry if you feel disrespected by that. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I don't know.
Zing.
Zing. So that's why your mom was wearing my jacket, because I was like, let her cool down.
Yeah.
And then she got food. And I was like, how long is it going to take for you to be cold and hungry again?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, you got a winter hat I can borrow too?
Yeah.
See how much I can pull from you. But no, like I said, I mean, at this point, the show would have been almost a month out, but it was fun to kind of have a hometown show. I haven't played that close to home in God knows how long, because I've had to branch out with a lot of gigs and go a little bit further than what I'm usually used to doing, about 30, 45, sometimes just about an hour. And a lot of people seem to have been doing that a lot because it's been so saturated around this area post-COVID. And, you know, you're able to get a couple things here and there, but I think it's just been so set in certain ways where if you're not a regular full-time musician having your regular shows, it's been harder for us part-timers, and I say that loosely, but like part-timers having hard times with like, you know, trying to just book single gigs here and there.
It's your second job. It's
Right.
not your like primary,
not primary income, but I always have taken it as like a second part-time job.
Yeah,
you know,
sure,
because again, you put the effort into it, you put the time into it. It's almost like a job, but again, it doesn't feel like a job, but it's been more promoted to not just a hobby. It's been a job because now I'm getting paid for it. So, you know, but I've always I've been saying this for a long time that I've been willing to go an hour out to fish. There's no reason why I can't go an hour out to play a gig to get paid for. Because when I go up to Little Lehigh, I don't get paid to go fishing. But again, it's something that I enjoy doing. So there's no reason why I can't go like, half hour, 45 minutes.
you gotta
Get it away from me. I'm okay with bees. It's okay. Like Dane Cook. Whoopsie. Bees. Whoopsie.
bees.
Whoopsie.
I'll punch every single one of them in the face.
Yeah. Whoopsie. Bees. Now he's trying to drink my drink. Get out of here. But no, yeah, so I've just come to the point where, you know, there's no reason that if I'm going to fish out, go out fishing like an hour out of the way and not get paid for it, there's no reason why I can't go to a gig that's about the same length so I can get paid. And it's just been a lot better because then you play for a bunch of different people that have never seen you, don't know you, and, you know, especially for the thing that I do with live looping, there's not a lot of people that do it. I've known a couple people that do it, but it seems like we're a very small niche of people that do it. So, it's been fun doing the thing that I do, and I think it's the closest thing that I can do to like having a band setting. So I like the fact that I can express that instead of just being up on stage with a guitar and vocal and just singing that way all night.
Yeah,
which I used to do.
And like we were talking about not getting stale earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was talking to our friend who showed up an hour in, who he might have been out to see you more than I have. It's close, but he might have. And I asked him, do you think like him with a band is a better situation? And he was like, his one band, this person is over here, this person moved down to Florida. They might be, but, and I was like, it's because, adulting, like adult lives, like people separate. And that's like me with Point Blank, like my crew, where like, hey, people are doing their own things. Like,
right.
Everyone is very less available, right? So
it's hard to find people that are as dedicated as you are on the same level and that type of thing. And I'm sure a dance crew is in the same way as a band. That it's hard.
The older you get, the harder it gets.
Yeah, because again, people get certain things going in their lives, and they're less dedicated. Their time is less dedicated to certain things they used to be. But with the bands that I've been in, we've been serious for the time we've been in, but then something kind of comes up and we all just start fluctuating out, and then it just, kind of starts tearing down. But I like both situations because you can express yourself in so many different ways. But the biggest thing that I liked about being there by myself is the fact that I can just control everything by myself. I don't obviously have to go through a bunch of other guys and be like, hey, can you play this show? Oh, wait, I got to tell the promoter that my bass player is waiting to see his schedule from work next week, so we can't get back to you right now. So let me get back to you in like about a week.
More people on board, the more problematic it can be. Yeah.
So, sure. It has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
But, it's for the sense of saying like, oh, well, do you think he looks better in a band setting or a solo setting? If this was me maybe like 10 years ago, I would never be able to think about being a solo person because I didn't have that confidence to be a solo person.
Yeah. And I mean, geez, confidence.
And that's just about right. I mean, 2023, I started becoming a solo artist in 2012. So just about 11 years ago, just passing the 10-year mark. So, yeah.
I mean, I heard something that said, you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go with others. And I feel like that is trying to promote teamwork. Same time, it doesn't apply to everybody. If you want to go on your own pace, you go alone. And you say, hey, I want to take a year to build a song. I want to invest an entire year on this one track. Creatively, this is what I'm thinking. Songwrite. And it's not a rush. I am finding myself in that position right now at my one studio with a handful of projects where I'm like, I am so overwhelmed. Like, I'm struggling to progress all of them. So mentally, I'm like, come on. You can do this. You can do this. Just sit down, think about it, figure it out. You can get it done. I'm just in a point where I'm riding the struggle bus. But
yeah. Writer's block.
Writer's block. Yeah.
We all have it.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about cleaning the pool. Since we're exiting summer and entering fall, and we're talking about all of the fun chores that we have to do, right? my mom was set to vacuum, not every day, but every few days. And my dad would do a thing where he would come home from work and be like, not good enough. And then he'd just jump in and vacuum, right?
Let me do it.
So I'm like, are these dudes out here just making chores for themselves and their schedules to keep themselves busy so they don't have to hear about it? Do you want to answer that? No, you don't.
No comment.
No comment.
I plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
But I get it.
Like I was vacuuming the pool today, and then because previously I was told, hey, you need to do it slowly so that the dirt doesn't just get pushed around.
Yeah.
And then it goes up into the middle layer, and then once you think you vacuumed enough, it just settles down to the lower layer. Yeah. And I was like, wow, is this guy just trying to make a chore longer on purpose? He pleads the fifth.
Less is more.
And at the same time, I was like, hey, I've vacuumed the pool. I've mowed the lawn for my dad so that when he gets home, he can just chill out. Because he should. He's still working full time and working extra weekends. And he's approaching 70. And I'm like, wow, are you doing that because you don't want to be home? Or
I think it's a sense of pride because my dad's the same way. Like, he's obviously stepped down from working full time, but he's a workaholic. He needs something to keep his brain going, because if not, he starts like going nuts. So, I like you saying like you've been helping your dad with the lawn. I can't get my dad to say like, hey, can you help me out with the lawn? Because I know that's just his thing.
he's the same way. I'll call him after I've like got the lawnmower started. I'm like, hey, something's not right here. It's not like he asked me to do it, because he'll never ask me to,
Right.
Because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
It's the pride thing, like you said.
And that's like his thing, the thing that he gets like, hey, go on here, zone out, do this thing. Kind of gives them that like zen to be like, all right, I still got it, and it kind of lets you, absorb the fact you're getting older, but you don't like trying to feel you don't feel as old,
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get it when we get that age.
Yeah. My dad told, we can't assume we'll get there, but my dad told me like 5 years ago that he had an offer to retire early, and he was just like, no, I know once I'm home, I'm going to slow down.
Yep.
And he goes to work. It's what he's known for like 50 years, probably. So what's he going to do here? He's going to look around and be like, what the fuck is all this?
Whoopsie.
Here?
Then you just start, like you said, you just start making up stuff to do just to say like, oh, well, this got to get clean. That's got to get clean. Like, no, it really don't. Like, well, it does. Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing. So that's when you're like, all right, Dad, fine.
Cool. And thank you for letting me, I think this shirt looks pretty okay on me. And I think that shirt looks pretty
Same.
okay on you.
I was very scared to put on yours because I'm like, well, I know we're kind of a little bit of different built. So I'm like, am I gonna be able to fit in Jim's? I mean, I know he's gonna fit in mine. I mean, I'm a lot bigger than you, but I'm like, am I gonna be like Hulk style and like ripping his shirt? So
I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet that you are not 25 pounds heavier than me right now. Should we go do this?
we could.
All right.
Let's do that.
Let's do it, and then we'll come back and we'll end the episode with the final answer.
We'll do that.
You ready?
We'll have a quick pause here. We're back with the scale. So Jim's thing was saying that that were under 25?
I said I would bet that you are not more than 25 pounds heavier than me.
Okay. So who wants to go first?
Mm. Are we doing this with the attire? I mean, the attire is very loose. Usually I will weigh myself
Morning.
morning.
Yeah. So
But
haven't
we're
really
weighing
had anything to
ourselves
eat,
same
so-
time of the day. What did you eat this morning?
I didn't eat anything.
I have not eaten anything at all today either.
Yeah, I think the only thing I had was like a square of Little Guy's cream cheese and pumpkin like bread. That was,
I
it was
think
like a
this
square. I
is
barely had
okay,
anything today.
Then this is a pretty fair
Yeah,
weigh-in. When you
I'm
got
fasting.
when
So
you when you got done your gig last night, did you
I
after
did.
you got home?
I did because I didn't.
What
eat,
did you eat?
I went on a binger a little bit. I had a lot of stuff.
So did I.
So
Yes.
yay for bingers.
So this is. I feel like this is pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, it's pretty evened out. I mean, we haven't really ate too much, so this should be. And even if it was, I mean, we're gonna have a little bit. But yeah, I mean, knowing that we're kind of zeroed out a little bit, so this is good.
All right, let me see.
All right. Is it okay to say our numbers? Late? Okay. I mean, we're not. Whoopsie. Yeah, I mean.
We've also said we were doing a weight loss challenge and didn't own up to it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So Jim's on the scale.
199.
199.8.
It's 198.8. What is
All right.
199?
199. All right. So here I go.
So I got to see if Anthony surpasses 124. Which, if he does, it's all on his shoulders and his.
Whoopsie.
Okay. Oh, 223. Yes. Like I said, I didn't think that he was more than 25 pounds heavier than me.
There you go. That was 222.8. So I mean,
And I
You wanna
was
round up 223?
199.8. So round them up. We're 24 pounds difference right now.
that's a pretty right on the dot. That was good.
I mean, that's almost been our entire lives in the last 20 years, honestly.
Yeah, I go up, you go up. Like,
Damn. I mean, but 220, I mean, that's good for you. I'm close to 200. That's not good for me.
I mean, for the fact that I was like 186 in high school, I mean, it's a big difference. But I mean, everybody gains weight as they're growing older. But in my 30s, when I was doing like the weight loss challenges,
Dude, when you and John. Sorry,
Hi,
Jen.
John.
Your name is John now. You don't get a choice.
but
When you both were doing the weight loss challenge, you both were in impeccable shape.
yeah, I got down to like 190. That was the lowest I got down to.
And I think I said to you before, I was like, I want to get the 170. I think I can do it.
So I don't think I'll be able to get down to 190 unless I push myself and like dedicate everything to be able to do it. But my thing is, if I want to get closer to 200, so that's been my thing. I want to just get back down closer to 200. 205 I'll be happy with, but if I can get under 210 in the between 205 210, I think I would like to live there.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's where you expecting a second one coming in January 2024. You get to decide. You got 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, while you have one child, you can manage your time
Yes.
and try to get like, hey, I want to get good because once that second child comes along,
No. Whoopsie.
out the
Whoopsie. It's
window.
a whole
Yeah.
brand new, thing of games. Like me and Jen are pretty good with kind of adjusting to things. So I don't have a problem with us being able to kind of figure out like a new scheduling thing with everything. But it's definitely just going to be like, a lot of time that I had out the window. So that's why, I mean, coming into next year, it's going to be a little bit of a difference with the podcast, but we're still going to be pitching out content to you guys. So don't worry. I may go away for a little bit, but I'll be back.
And
maybe a little tired, maybe a little bit of a zombie, but I'll be back with you guys.
I have some plans for
Jim's got some plans, some good plans
special
with
guests,
some people.
and
so
I think Anthony, once he comes back, I don't plan on getting pregnant anytime soon. Please help me God. But in the event, you might see Anthony without me for a smidgen, and
we'll do the same thing.
And we'll do the same thing. Be here for you. We all love you, the One Set fam. Follow us on all of our socials. One Set Pod.
One Set Pod. Like I said, at this point, we are dedicated to this thing. Unless, something comes up and we just cannot physically do this anymore, we're here with you guys every week. And if we can't, then we've been on a streak for, this is going to be episode
91.
Yep. If that, or before 90. I think we had an idea before it, but if not around 90, we'll be around the 90th episode of Streaks. So we're dedicated to this, and we thank you all for continuing to be here with us week after week.
Yeah, and I gotta say, honestly, our friendship from middle school, our passion for wrestling actually transcended us to being cool with each other. I think through high school is when we really learned, like, oh shoot, he's a musician. Oh shoot, you knew I danced, and you came to my recitals. I think when you were in middle school.
But like I told you before, I think the thing that made me realize this kid's got something is when you did that talent show and you did that dance. I'm like, okay, he's serious.
Yeah, like, because I put myself out there. My senior year in high school was when I was like, all right, people acknowledge me. Like and I really thank everyone that was out there rooting for me my senior year. Yeah. Because I didn't have that until then. So that was a time where I felt super confident in myself. And between the ages of 18 and 25, I rode the confidence wave. I didn't ride the cockiness wave at all. I just was like, no, it's ugly.
Yeah.
I had the humility where I was like, oh, if someone wants to shut me down, like, it's fine. I know I'm not as good as everyone else. So finding the balance in the three, it's such a hard thing to do. And I think, I was heavily favored in some of the non-favorable spots, 25 to 30, and maybe even 30 to 35. I think right now I'm pretty okay with the balance. I'm just lacking a little motivation, which we all run into.
Absolutely.
Right? And
we'll find it.
That's not actually based on the dancers that I'm working with. It's just where I am personally, mentally right now. It's different, right?
Like at the point I'm in right now, and we'll get this going. We'll wrap this up in a sec. Yeah. But like at the point that I'm at right now, it's like I'm not motivated, but I need something to just spark it up to get the rest of this thing done for our episode 100. And it's going to come. I think I have a busy couple weeks coming into this week. Obviously, by this time this thing comes out, I'll have ended a lot of the busy things coming up. But after that, it's go time for me to get this thing done and have this thing out for you guys. And I'm pretty sure Jim's in the same boat. We work under pressure. That's the best time that the best things come out of us. So we're looking forward to that. And, before we end this, we wanted to say, and just remind with that bad lip stuff, we'll post that, around this episode, and we'll do a separate post so you guys get to see all this stuff. And you guys can either tag us at One Set Pod on all social medias, Facebook, or do it all of them, either Facebook, Instagram. You can even do it on TikTok if you want. Tag us One Set Pod, and even if you want to do a hashtag, do hashtag One Set Pod. If you don't want to tag us, do a hashtag One Set Pod, so we see it. and we're going to group them all together. We're going to pick the best ones, and we're going to do the poll like Jim said, and the winner will be announced on the episode 100. So I'm looking forward. That was a great idea, man.
And we want to welcome the both of them as guests on the pod.
And they will, we'll announce on the 100th episode,
Which is
and they will
big.
be a future guest on the pod. Absolutely.
We don't invite just anyone. Like, we've only had Matt and Chris right now.
We've only had 2 guests.
Yeah. So, this is pretty big.
Yes.
So
you'll get to be able to chat but we'll make sure it's with both of us. I mean, I'll make sure that it's with both of us if we have to even do it before anything. You'll definitely be chatting with both of us, and we'll have you on an episode, whether it's virtual or in person with us. We'll make it work. So
absolutely. Anth, anything else?
Good, man. This has been a fun time. Thank you guys for tuning in. You've been watching the One Set Pod with Anthony Irvin, my buddy Jim Green. Thank you guys. See y'all next week.
All the love. Thank you all.